Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon or good evening, depends on which part of the world you are in. May I welcome on behalf of you a dear friend, Mr. Samir Benmakhlouf. Mr. Samir, welcome to Tamayuz TV.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure, our true pleasure. We had some very interesting discussions over the day. Could I first of all ask you actually to introduce yourself to our viewers from around the world?
My name is Samir Benmakhlouf. I'm the country manager of Microsoft in Morocco. Strong background in manufacturing, industrial and logistics. So this is a place where I feel home.
Absolutely. Well, Samir is very actually modest person because he's also a PhD holder and a great expert in the field, actually recognized one in Africa and even abroad, with a very beautiful experience in more than 3 continents, if I remember well.
Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we are actually in logistics platforma over here. For the people that only see actually this background, we are right now in the multi-flow actual logistics zone of Zenata in Mohammedia precisely. Leading platform in Morocco, in North Africa and in all the continents in terms actually of logistics flows optimization. Platforma is managed by the SNTL. And when we are talking about pilot zone, we are also talking about the introduction of new technologies. And I know that you are an enthusiast, as our British friends actually like to say, for the materialization of flows. Could you please actually explain this concept a little bit more?
The idea is the less friction you have in your workflow, the better you are.
Absolutely.
And how to have a frictionless operation is by digitizing your processes.
Mm-hmm.
So the information flows electronically, and a person who's part of the process will get on his dashboard things that he needs to do. And the good thing, because it's not on paper, is there's a time clock always ticking. So when the person receives something, he needs to respond with a decision, because if there's no decision to be made, only information to be collected, then you can bypass certain processes that today exist on paper. And I see this as a very good implementation, because at the end of the day, the faster you do things, the more productive you are, the more benefits and the least cost you will incur in your process.
Indeed, and actually you catalyzed an idea in my mind right now. Morocco has chosen the word sustainability as a keyword, as a keystone also actually of our development model. And when we talk about sustainability, we talk about the 3 aspects being actually the human part, the ecological and the environmental part, and also the third, which is the sustainable economy. And logistics and supply chain performance have a key role to play in that, especially in this era of digitalization and dematerialization. We just actually visited our warehouses here, and it might be actually surprising for our customers or for our partners to know that our aim is to reduce the need of storage for our customers. How come? Well, we are selling space. Well, by optimizing, because if you are actually reducing what is a store at the end of the day, it's an investment that is made with actually a big part, which is the safety stock, linked to uncertainty of the market, linked to the parts that we don't understand, linked to problems actually of integration that you were just actually talking about between the different actually partners of supply chain. So by helping actually reducing this uncertainty, by helping one part of the supply chain supplier understanding his customer, incorporating different chains actually of the supply chain, we reduce also the need for storage. And reducing the need of storage is not just a reduction of the light, the consumption of electricity, of the land, which is already good impacts for environments, but it's also a reduction of the industry that is behind, which is far much actually better part, because it's a reduction on the CO2 emissions. It's also a reduction on the overconsumption of raw material and so on. So we are in the heart actually of sustainability, and we need actually to be cooperating together, because as far as the materialization is involved, it's automatically a new way of doing things better and in a more intelligent way.
The good thing nowadays is technology has made a lot of things easy. I remember in the 80s when we were learning about the just-in-time system.
Absolutely, GIT.
And the Kanban, because you have products is moving one way and the information is
the lean management, reducing the fat, reducing
exactly.
the... Yeah.
But at that time, it was done on paper, on cards,
Absolutely.
on using the phone, using the fax. The systems were too costly. Nowadays, the cost is pretty low because the infrastructure of IT has been reduced tremendously with the introduction of the cloud computing and the mobility of the users. So it's a true opportunity for the staff, for the human capital, to learn these new tools, these new ways. And obviously, you know, once you set up a system, you will not change it for the next 10 or 20 years. But nowadays, you need to set up a dynamic system that will adapt to the changes out there. And we were talking about how you can put devices, GPS devices, in all the mobile parts of the supply chain elements, whether it's the trucks or the products or the pallets.
To track on real time, or every part actually components of the supply chain, may they be trucks, containers, maritime, air, where they are.
Your expected time to do things becomes
more real.
More real. You can put also human, or I would say machine intelligence, called machine learning, to learn to do predictive ways of doing things. You know, how to predict the demand based on the seasonality, etc. So your minimal stock.
And here you introduce the cloud.
Obviously, the cloud is a way to reduce your infrastructure costs. That's number one. Number two, if you have an elastic, it's the same thing with supply chain. You need to be elastic. You know, when you have more users, then you pay more. You have less users, you pay less. The other thing is innovation on demand. You don't want to be stuck with, oh, I need to buy a lot of hardware, a lot of software. You just want to implement the ideas, your innovation that you want to implement. And at the end of the day, one of the good things about all this is to have the right measurable dynamic data that's becoming information. And based on that information, then big decisions are made. And Morocco, I think, is playing a very good role in terms of being the hub, not only for, you know, for the country itself, or it's
also for the entire region.
For in the entire region, Northwest Africa at least.
And the true gateway. We are talking logistics here, but we can also say the same thing about cognitive economy. We can say the same thing about immaterial economy as well.
And the idea is how to link between hard and soft infrastructures.
To offer full solutions.
And not only we're going to have a soft infrastructure that caters for Morocco, but we can link it with the soft infrastructure of Spain,
absolutely,
of Europe,
absolutely.
so that before things happen
absolutely.
or come down to Morocco from
absolutely.
Europe, we're already expecting on how it will flow.
You know, you are reading in my mind. I remember actually in 2005, that was actually the big year for the free trade agreement with the U.S., with the biggest markets in the world. And back then I was actually working with the big multinational, with Maersk, and they asked me to do together with the U.S. government series actually of trainings for big Moroccan exporters, for big companies interested in. And I was telling them actually your biggest actually challenge right now, and also your biggest trigger in key to the market, is the logistics. You need to adapt actually to that. Back then there was the Patriot Act, and including the Patriot Act included that if you want to export a product to the US, the manifest of the vessel, of the ship, needs to be fully loaded with the data 24 hours before actually the vessel leaves to the American port. And today, thanks to the technology, we can have that. And today we are aiming also to become this gateway, to build actually, why not, a big logistics city over here in Morocco for American products for Africa, and also from Africa to the rest of the world. And also here actually we need full details in order to offer possibilities of co-loading, in order to offer actually possibilities of consolidated cargo also, so the people that doesn't have a lot of cargo doesn't have to wait actually for months to export their products or to import them. We can actually do fast and smarter logistics by knowing exactly who is loading from where to the other part, charging that actually together, and offering efforts of massification.
This will also yield into a lot of assembly processes that will happen.
Absolutely, 100%.
If you bring in components from all over the world entering the Mediterranean area, region, then this place can be a very pivotal and gateway to create a lot of assembly, and behind assembly manufacturing, and behind manufacturing it's a whole wealth creation that can be done.
100%. And in all the things that we are talking about, human is the key aspect, and human is the real actually center. So that's why we choose actually to invest in that. And the idea behind Timayus, first of all, it's to share this knowledge, to clusterize it, to share this knowledge, make studies for Morocco, make studies for private sector, but also for African governments as far as logistics is involved, train people, invest on people. And that's actually, and I think that all the countries, all the structures, all the companies that made this choice to invest of people, may there be in logistics or in your field, if we can speak about separate fields because we are complementary, all the people that's made this kind of investments on people have been successful.
Let me put it this way. Every organization is a data organization.
I like your way actually. Yeah,
every
I like
organization is a data organization. At the end of the day, you're managing information.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and why we're collaborating is how to make the human capital able to manage such data.
Absolutely. With providing him with the right data to make the right decision on the right timeline.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what Mr. Sun Tzu said actually some 3,000 years ago. And it still actually remains. But they didn't have Microsoft back then, did they?
No.
Thank you, Mr. Samir. I know that you just actually came back from a long trip. Thank you for visiting us today. Thank you, my dear friend. Cheers.